The other day, I received a particular screenshot in which I'm going to go over here in just a moment. But it talked about Black Democrats, many of them that we see who we consider to be in the Boule. Some of them you see as talking heads on large TV networks. Joy Reid, who's really Congolese. And then you have Roland Martin, who is Haitian African American. I'm not sure, but these are people who are Democrats known for speaking on behalf of the Black community. And this particular tweet was shocking. In the tweet reads by Najma Sharif, shout out to her. The majority of Black brown liberals are middle class, upper middle class. They love to project and say we shall have no stakes in this election when all they care is for representation because they suffer from deep self-esteem issues and imposter syndrome. Don't argue with them. She also says this: all they want are White House dinner invites and to see themselves like you can't reason with people like this. They're children. They want mommy and daddy to recognize them. Ignore them the same way they ignore the rest of us unless they want to coerce us into voting. I sat there and I thought about it. And I said, these people who are Democrats, who are very talented, went to great schools, have great work ethics, they don't really have a clue about what's going on in Black America because of their position and their society. And this brought me to a recent documentary that I've seen called Inside the Negro Middle Class of 1968. I'm still yet to watch all of it, but it is great. And basically the problems that were happening at that time are still happening now, okay? This is right in the civil rights movement. You had a lot of your Black Boules there. There's a particular guy, talented guy, I believe he went to NYU, and he's talking about how he didn't really feel a connection to the Black community because of how he grew up and what's going on in Black America. What he's gonna say is very troubling, but it's the truth to his perspective.
I guess it's clear to see now that the Negro who is truly struggling looks askance at us. They are the upper middle class or the middle class. They don't understand our problems. We don't need them. They're of a dying era. The Roy Wilkins and the Whitney Youngs and the Philip Randolph, possibly. We don't understand, and they don't understand it. I don't know where it's going to lead to. For instance, myself, I'm born and reared in New York, always having been in a kind of a middle-class structure. Never suffered too terribly. Went to integrated schools, got an education in the New York school system, a college education. At 17, I dated white girls. There was some displeasure at it, but I did it, and I had no guilt about it. For some reason or the other, I never associated myself with the welfare recipient, the unemployed person. And now I realize that these are my people, that I should be able to do something for them or with them. But yet I haven't. So that, I think, is where the guilt comes in. I have empathy for my people, but yet in my middle class value, I still kind of think of them as those people. And I'm aware of it, and I think a lot of people in my particular class, if you will, is aware of it, but we're reluctant. We are just imbued with this white middle class value where we think white. So I take the position that these people have been denied, and I continue to say these people. Notice that. I continue to say these people. And like I'm not one of them, when in fact I am one of them. I take the position now that I should help, I should do what I can. I have begun to protest. I will now picket. I will now speak out with my white counterpart about the injustices that have occurred to my people, when before, say, 15 years ago, I kind of behaved like it didn't exist. But now when I read, when it's brought to the front about housing and about job discrimination, I realize now that this did exist when I was younger, but I was just oblivious to it. I didn't think as a Negro, but now I'm thinking as a Negro.
And this is something that is very, very true. The Democrats who are urging the blacks to vote, you see, their lives are different from the rest of the people in the community that live in, the hard parts of Oakland, California, that live in the hard parts of Chicago. They don't live there. Let me give you a story. I moved to Uganda full-time 2022. I had no idea, and still don't, and can never understand the suffering of the average Ugandan person. I live in a pretty nice neighborhood. I live an American lifestyle. I have a big refrigerator like an American, a stove like an American, a microwave like an American. I basically recreated what I remember in America to make my life comfortable here. But to say that I understand what somebody experiences in Kamocha or in Kawempe, or a person that lives $1 a day, I could never explain it. I've never lived it. I'm so far removed from what they've experienced, I can't even make a comment on it. Even if I would have experienced it myself, I don't. Same thing in the 80s and 90s. My dad was on crack cocaine. We were on food stamps. I remember how it is being poor. I remember how it is when your mom tell you to hit the deck, get on the carpet, get on the ground because people are shooting bullets. But I'm so far removed from that, I don't remember what it's like. I know what it's like now after going to, undergrad, going to medical school, building somewhat of a successful business, traveling all over the world, going to every continent almost, living on 3 different continents before age 40. That's an amazing feat that most people will never have. But I've gotten out of touch with reality. But I'm not so far removed that I don't know about how suffering is in Black America. See, when I grew up in Black America, my dad was on drugs for a part of my life. And the resources that I needed to make it in my life was not there around me all the way. It was gangs around, it was drugs around, it was the streets around. Your mom can't handle you once you get 15, 16 years old. And you don't have that many people to put you on the way to go to college, go to medical school. When you really out there trying to figure out your life because your daddy ain't there. So those are the issues that Black America has. But I come from that, so I kind of understand it, but I am kind of far removed. Roland Martin and these other guys are very far removed. They're taking pictures with presidents, dinners. And the reason why they want you to keep voting Democrat, although it don't help you, is what's in it for them. That's what the post is saying. What is in it for them? High-powered Black politicians have a lot to gain while other Blacks have a lot to lose. It's the truth. It's not that Roland Martin is going to give a part of his salary up to help Black people. No. High-powered Democrats that are doing business, that have connections to the DNC, they don't want to give that up. And if that means more single Black women and single moms losing their lives in East St. Louis, in Philadelphia, our brothers and sisters going to jail, in Southwest Philadelphia, East Oakland, West Oakland, who cares? It don't matter. Let them suffer. What's in it for me? It's no different than what happens with political corruption in Africa. What happens in political corruption in these great countries here. As long as I get something out of it, what's in it for me? Then you lead your people down the path of fire. It's policy why Black men and Black women don't get along like they should. It's policy why Black men hate each other. And Blacks have helped catalyze that destruction of a relationship. They've helped us since the 60s, and they say they love us. It's to keep people infuriated with other parties being racist. We know that white Republicans have racists there. That's true. It's a lot of Trump supporters on the alt-right that hate blacks, don't want nothing to do with blacks. I get it, I understand that. But you don't want to admit that the biggest haters of blacks are right there in the Democratic Party. Joe Biden, the rest of them too. Everybody dislikes blacks on either side. Let's be honest about it. Let's just talk truthfully about it, okay? But the biggest issue that I have are the blacks that keep leading us into that burning house because they simply benefit. Then when you don't have nothing, you want to blame the white people. Don't also blame them. Blame Roland Martin. Blame Joy Reid. Blame Kamala Harris. These are the people that keep your destruction going because it helps their career. It helps their life. Think they care about what's going on in Houston? Most of these black Democratic cities are the poorest in the nation. No resources. What did the black community ask for in 1992? When Bill Clinton came into office, the black community wanted resources, work programs. Roland Martin don't talk about that. He's not concerned with that. What matters is Roland Martin get his money. And he's known in the DNC. Built more jails in the Bill Clinton era. He don't talk about that. What's important for him is that he get his money. All of these things that have occurred, it's not important as long as they get what they got to get from it. And that's the sad part about what's going on. What do they gain from it? Then when your people is out here suffering, like all around the black world, because you wanted to get what you wanted. But guess what? People who are loyal to money ain't loyal to nothing. And we're going to continue to be beat out by these boules in the DNC. And yes, the Republicans have theirs too, don't get me wrong. But we have boules who are anti-black. And those are the ones who set the community back because they traded us for a check. And they still trading us for a check. Our loyalty, our suffering for a check, so their kids can go to Harvard and Columbia and maybe marry white people. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Du Jackson back with Fair Use. I'm out.